to talk about. Terry McLaurin has requested a trade. And he wants out of Washington. Now, it may just be a leverage play to get a new contract. He said all along he wants to stay there, and it makes less than 0 cents for the Commanders to trade him. You look at the rest of their room behind him, you could argue their top two receivers. Their top two receivers might be an old, overweight Deebo Samuel, no offense, but am I wrong?
It's a fact.
And their number 2 wide receiver might be KJ Osborne, who was the number 2 wide receiver here last year, and how did that go?
Respect Jalen Lane.
I forgot they have Jalen Lane. All right, he's a rookie. You don't know.
He's a fourth-round rookie, I know.
You're probably going to have to send a wide receiver back. I look at that one because it's all, you look at, what's the value been set? What's the precedent? And I think there's 3 trades you look at. You look at the DK Metcalf trade this offseason. You look at Stephon Diggs getting traded from Buffalo to Houston last year, and then the reported trade of Brandon Ayuk here. Now, if you remember, that didn't ultimately go down because Ayuk couldn't agree with the Patriots on a contract, but the Niners had accepted a deal that was reported to be a second, a fourth in Kendrick Bourne. So McLaurin's a little older than some of those guys, but he's had more production than some of those guys. All of them, I don't think Diggs might have needed a new contract. I don't remember what the deal was there, but Metcalf
Didn't they rework it so then he would be a free agent after the year? They cut years off.
Metcalf and Ayuk obviously both needed new contracts at the time. If you tell me it's a second, a fourth, next year, a future day 3 pick, and then you're probably throwing in a receiver, I'm doing that. Ideally, the receiver you throw in is Kayshon Boutte or Kendrick Bourne or maybe one of the 2 guys from last year, Jalen Polk or Javon Baker. I would imagine the Commanders would ask for Pop Douglas. I would really try to avoid doing that. I would throw on an extra pick before having to do that. Push comes to shove, though, I might be convinced maybe if they're going to send another pick back.
You got any thoughts on the compensation?
I mean, I don't know about the trade going back, but if they can get Terry McLaurin, I would be all for it.
But you can. It's easy to say that, but where do you draw line? First round pick?
No, I would not do it
I'm out
first.
there too.
I think ideally it is, Polk, Bourne, one of those guys who you project slightly off, but you talk about the Commanders' wide receiver room, they could maybe be pushing for snaps.
Kendrick Bourne's in base 11 there,
especially.
Kendrick Bourne's absolutely in base 11,
and then a second round pick and maybe the fourth or one of those later picks. But I'd be all for it. But I just still come back to this is probably a leverage play. And, you talk about, Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins and, Deebo Samuel a couple of years ago, all these guys, this seems to be how this goes. You want a new contract, you put the request in, and then you ultimately sign back. Because it doesn't make any sense for Washington to trade this guy.
DK Metcalf, though, Taylor.
I will say, if they do, if things break down and it's just something that they can't figure out, I do think the Patriots make a lot of sense. They're out of the conference. The Commanders don't play the Patriots this year. Terry McLaurin would be going to another young quarterback who excels with the deep ball and an offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels who's got history. This isn't last year where they could not, for the life of them, you mentioned Brandon Ayuk. Yeah. He didn't want to come here. It was pretty obvious that he was just using the Patriots as leverage, and it got to the point where Ellie Wolf was like, you know what, I see what's happening here. We're just going to bow out. This isn't actually going to happen. So if things do break down, I think it's something that would make sense for both sides. But like you said, it's tough. Not a lot of these teams are trying to get rid of their good receivers.
No.
Especially when you have a young quarterback who's on a rookie deal, which I don't know why this deal hasn't gotten done already. I guess the age. But
you know what? The Patriots have the money. Mm-hmm. He'll be here next week. They're here for joint practices. Just pop over to sideline.
If Ellie Wolf's on the phone or if he's chatting with Adam Peters.
Here's the thing with me where this one's different. If what's blocking it is the age, he's not getting younger, and that's you can't budge off that. So if he wants 30 per, I wouldn't do it long term. 3
front-loaded deal.
They're usually come in at 3 years now.
Right, call 3
anyway.
years, $100 million, 60 guaranteed all over the first 2 years, 65 guaranteed all over the first 2 years.
I think it's fair.
I would do that. It's about right.